Welcome to Market Matters. I'm Sulhi Azman. Joining together with me is Nadia Hassan. Anyway, companies in the news. As November come to a close today, we are in the thick of a result season. Today we had Telecom Malaysia Berhad. We saw a 12% profit drop in net profit due to the forex loss. And funny enough, we were talking about the P1, which is also absorbing operational losses.
Yeah, Telecom was absorbing P1's operational losses. Funnily enough, we talked about Green Packet yesterday.
Correct. And also Samdabi, which is the biggest plantation giant in Malaysia after Felda.
FGV would have disagreed with you.
Saw 34% in 1Q drop in net profit due to lower revenue from money units and auto section. And however, since we love our banks, Nadia, we continue with our last big granddaddy of banks in Malaysia, Malayan Banking Bhd or Maybank, which went up by 0.83% to end at RM8.48 today.
Yeah, so the share price has been rebounded by about 3% after falling steep in the previous few months. We always talk about how banks are the barometer of the health of the finance sector, which is the health of the economy. And the reason why we're closing off with Maybank is because we followed everybody else. We followed Hong Leong, we followed RHB. Yesterday was CIMB. So yeah, just to show how these guys are doing, if you want to look at their earnings, seems to still be fairly intact. Top line grew about 28.1%. Net profit also a nice little 18, almost 19% up. They were boosted apparently from all the divisions, which is what, as an investor, you probably like to hear.
Definitely correct. And you have this banking and Islamic banking today. The net interest income and Islamic banking income increased by 1.4 billion ringgit or 14.8%, largely to the growth in group's loan, advances and financing and insurance, which is and Takafusat, which is under the famous or infamous rather, Etika. The net insurance earned premium grew by 126.8 million ringgit.
So if you're looking at asset quality, which of course you do when you're looking at banks, there actually allows for impairment losses on loans, financings, etc., increased actually about 597.4 million. This was basically on lower bad debts, and financing recovered a 196.4 million. I think if you really follow banks and look at all these ratios with an almost godlike devotion, I think you'd be quite happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, quite happy with that. I mean, never mind the fact that the banks can be a bit of gangsters when it comes to recovery.
Did you just call them gangsters? I don't think it's them, Sulhi. I don't think it's them who are actually the gangsters. I think you've been borrowing money from some really dodgy loan sharks.
Anyway, overhead expenses today, for the bank, increased by 14.8% to 7.5 billion ringgit. Now, Nadia, we have not heard any Maybank, laying off some of their staff, right?
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing. We've heard about almost everybody else doing it. Hong Leong, RHB, CIMB, of course, yeah. So I think this is good on their side because we're looking at their overhead expenses, like you said. They do have higher personnel expenses of 510.9. But okay, fine, you can keep hiring staff as long as staff keep doing things to add to your top and bottom line. I mean, you could hire an army if it meant that you could actually increase your margins and profits. So I don't think there's anything wrong with overhead expenses increasing, as long as your revenue and net profit also go on the upward trend.
Which is also translated in the results announced today. But anyway, overseas expansion today, they are going to expand in Kunming and in Greater China as well as Myanmar, which I think, they have just finished the elections, and with the new president Aung San Suu Kyi, it might actually liberalize the economy there. But they also announced a headline KPI where they are targeting the ROE, the measure of profitability, to grow between 12 to 13%, while the loan growth, despite the fact that they are having stiff competition, is expected to grow by 8 to 9%. But anyway, just to take it all together, three reasons why it matters. Malaysia's largest bank, or as I like to put it, the granddaddy of all banks in Malaysia, Maybank has posted a very interesting and very good results today, all where revenue and net profit went up.
By just about 20%, actually.
Correct, yes. Now, moving on to Insider Asia stock of the day. We have today Imaspro, which ended the trade at 0.57% higher at RM1.76. Now, this company, it was listed in January 2006, and it manufactures and sells in pesticides and related agrochemicals such as herbicides, insecticides, and also fungicides.
You can actually see that on the lowdown we have in front of you right now. So the main reason is, and of course we've had a few days where we've been talking about brokers. So now we talk about Insider Asia. What did they like about the stock? Leading a manufacturer of pesticides, as you mentioned, mainly for crop protection in agriculture. So here's the interesting thing about them. They actually say it gives a good exposure to the plantation sector without actually being a plantation company.
Yeah, they have over 270 products listed globally, supported by a 43-acre of testing facility. Now, Insider Asia says that it gives them competitive edge in innovation and also penetrating into a new market, for instance.
Yeah, so I think the bigger thing for them is that now in this era of well, in this era of basically crappy ringgit, we actually do see that it's good to be diversified, and that's what these guys are. They do 51% of their stuff is actually exported, and they do it to 30 countries. So they're well diversified, hunkering down in a pretty solid looking bunker.
Yeah, that means they are buffering it from the depreciating ringgit. Anyway, the stock, they has gained 45.5% year to date. But Insider Asia still thinks that the stock is attractive at a single-digit trailing X cash PE of 7.6 times.
Because as we said, we were talking about whether the plantation, why would you buy a plantation guy or would you buy Imaspro? And they said, well, if you look at the valuations, average plantation stock PE about 28.2 times. How can you beat that for 7.6 times?
True enough. And if you look at the earnings, right, and Insider Asia, they have this strong war chest or strong light for stronger earnings. Despite revenue went down by 20.2%, the net profit went up by 44%, and dividends has been consistent at 3.5 cents since financial year 2008, and they indicate that net yield of 2% and a relatively low payout ratio of 28%.
So yeah, they actually do say that the earnings have been fairly stable. There was a little adjustment for mix here and there. They are adjusting their mix to fungicides, better margins than herbicides and insecticides. I don't know what other sides I want to be on. The fact is, I think that they are just getting themselves down. This kind of game, if you're looking at this kind of game, it's a long-term game. You're not looking at a punt. You're looking at something long-term. And going forward, they think it's the better capacity utilization that's going to be for them. 30% only so far. And that gives you massive room to grow.
Correct. And just another note, Nadia, I think with all the big plantation companies, right, Simon Rabbits and so on, they can actually tap into these companies and offer their products there. And who knows, the sales might really go.
They do-ish, but not really that much. I think they have other things to worry about, bigger things to worry about.
Bigger things. But anyway, today Insider Asia stock today is Imaspro. It ended 0.57% to RM1.76. And that's all we have today, folks. I'm Sulhi Azman. Joined together with me is Nadia, Hassan. And if you need more information, you can always log into our website at www.theedgemarkets.com or grab a copy of The Edge Financial Daily, or you can subscribe into our website where they're going to be sending it to your inbox every day. All right, good night and good luck.